My name is Susan Drew. I was born Joan Fagan on May 16, 1949, in St. Patrick's Mother and Baby Home on the Navan Road in Dublin. I am one of the thousands of babies who were born to unwed mothers in these homes, then illegally adopted or exported by the Catholic Church to couples in the States, while the Irish government looked the other way. I was over 2 when I was taken away from my mother.
When I wrote about this, I couldn't really believe that it wasn't a scandal, because to me it seemed to be so much of the stories I'd been hearing about and reading about and was interested in all involved the wider issue. To me, the institution was almost irrelevant, whether it was Magdalen Laundry or Mother and Baby Home. It was about women and the treatment of women who didn't fit the perceived moral code of Ireland at the time, or how Ireland wanted to portray itself.
Adoption in Ireland and the way it was run in Ireland has to be seen as part of the continuum of abuse that the Catholic Church perpetrated against women and children in this society. The regime they were going into was frequently very, very harsh and very demanding. The women weren't treated well. They had to work to pay their way. Even though these homes were maintained at the public expense, the nuns made the women who came to them work to pay their way.
The level of illegal adoptions, the level of money that changed hands, all of those related things are what really drew me to it. And particularly when you meet the women and you hear their experiences and just how harrowing they are and how heartbreaking they are.
The young women who were giving their babies up for adoption were very often presented with no alternatives. They were told by the nuns, your child is going for adoption, sign here. And very often, what they were signing, they had no idea. They weren't given an opportunity to read it. They weren't told, for instance, that they had a right to change their minds. They weren't told that there were alternatives. They weren't offered help with alternatives. The nuns were running a business here, and they were making absolutely certain that all the babies they wanted for adoption would be available to them.
So mothers began to look back at stories, lies that they had been told by certain authorities, and began to question the reasons why their children were taken from them in the first place.
When I had my first child, Mark, and when he was 14 months, the very idea of this child being taken from me and sent off into another country or anything, I just could not imagine that happening. Oh, the cruelty I just felt was just on the mothers, but then mothers didn't really matter that much, not in Ireland anyway, particularly unwed ones.
St. Patrick's was a health board institution. It was run by the state. The Daughters of Charity, of which I am one, administered it. But all the records are with the state. I haven't all the records.
Well, why are some here?
I have a lot of them.
What?
I have a lot of them.
I know, but why are they here, not with the state?
Because before they went to the present health board place, I photocopied them. Photocopied as much as I could. But I didn't photocopy them all. But I photocopied a good lot of them.
Why?
Because I'm like that. I knew I'd need them.
Why?
For the sake of Susan and people like that. If I had no records, well, I could refer you to the health board. And it might be 100 years before they'd come up with anything,
The right of a child to his or her identity, is writ large, particularly in the UN Convention. And we seem to have been quite happy as a nation to have parked our obligations under that convention on the rights of the child.
I believe firmly that everybody has a right to know who their father and mother were. It's a basic human right.
Yeah, it is.
Basic human right.
There is a feeling amongst a lot of adopted people that primarily what the government has been doing, and it's been doing this for 20 years, is looking after the men who were the fathers of these children. Because you have to remember, for every child born, there's not just a single mother, there was a father.
Just blank. So she didn't say who your father was.
Right.
See? It was blank.
I, a couple of times, attempted to ask Nancy, but it's something that she wants to block from her mind. You know, she just doesn't want to think about that, and she never will. You know, it's just something that's gone. And you know, I've been visiting Nancy, and I've had to do a lot for her over the years, but you know, she likes talking about Susan, but that's as far as it will go.
Nancy, do you remember where I was born?
Do you remember where Joan was born?
No,
No? Was it Dublin?
I think it was. Don't ask me any more questions like that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I can't remember these questions.
Yeah.
I'm not able to tell these things. I don't think of the past.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes it takes a moment for something to suddenly gain traction or gain momentum. I think with Philomena Lee and Tuam, all of a sudden it became a big scandal, and you know, it quickly developed from there, and you know, we're at the stage now where we have a commission of inquiry.
Unfortunately, I don't have a great deal of faith in the Commission of Inquiry to actually get to the very bottom of all of the issues that we would like to see investigated. We should have been looking at illegal adoptions, forced adoptions, vaccine trials, medical trials, using cadavers in medical schools, burial procedures, afterlife issues. There's a whole gamut of issues which will not be addressed by this Commission of Inquiry.
There's a feeling that the government is just stringing this along in the hope that eventually the pressure to do something will die away as the people who were involved in this also die away.